These are a few of our random ass things.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shooting the Shelf's newest shorts edition, at least shorts for us here on the Just Shelve It channel. This is the Shooting the Shelf Rats. And as you heard Curtis's wonderful voice, his dulcet tones in that intro, these are a few of our random ass things. So Curtis has done the first one, and this was his little brainchild, and I'm spilling stuff all over my table here. He did some on some awesome customs he had, and so as not to follow up and duplicate, I won't be showing off customs for my first one. Wanted to keep the flavor a little different, so we're not just repeating the same stuff, even though it would be different. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite random ass things from my collection. Years ago, let me start this over. I'm a huge Lego fan. Love Lego ever since I was a kid. Some of the earliest Christmas gifts I remember were like the early Duplo bricks. And then, my brother had the Yellow Castle set, my brother Joe, and some of the town and city type stuff. And, as they into the 80s and even the early 90s, they started developing more interesting version of the knights and the pirates and that sort of thing, and the space stuff too. It was all really cool, but the knights and the space stuff, or excuse me, the knights and the pirates were where I really focused my Lego collecting. That was the stuff I loved the most. Um, and I remember, I gotta see when, was somewhere in the late 80s, I believe. Let's see if I can find out an actual date. Yeah, okay. I thought it was 89. 1989 is when the set I'm about to show off came out. It is one of the few sets I still have from my childhood. It's been repurposed, not repurposed, but put together with pieces that weren't necessarily. It's not all original pieces. It's mostly original pieces, but some stuff I've just. That's where I was going. Years ago, about 20 years ago now, actually, I let a friend. I sent these with a friend who had moved out of the area, so their kids would have something to play with, and just one thing led to another, and I just never got most of my Legos back. Wasn't an intentional or mean thing. It just life just happened, and yeah, it just the this set is one of the few ones I still have from back then. So let me see if I can bring this up here. So just real quick, here's a picture of me. It is, if you recognize this little goofy dude with the Eagles hat in the background, that is some images I've used in the intro for our regular Shooting the Shelf that I've redrawn. But this would have been um, one of the earliest pirate sets I got. So this would have been probably the summer. This would have been the summer of '89. So the summer I turned 10. I spent most of the summer at my dad's apartment that year. Um, as my oldest brother Gene up here in the front in the blue shirt, and my youngest older brother Joe in the background there. I believe he's wearing his Heckinger's uniform for when he worked at a hardware store here. But they're helping me put together. Not that I needed help, but I think they just wanted to play. Put together I believe it was called the Forbidden Island pirate set. I really loved that set. It was really cool. It had this cool kind of like circular shaped like landmass with a little bit of water in the middle, which was one of the first sets I had that had multiple colors on it that wasn't like a street scene. And I just thought that was a really cool set. It had like a rope bridge that the characters could walk across, and there was a trap door and some of the early pirate stuff. But what I'm showing off today is the Black Seas Barracuda. This was the first, I believe it was the first full ship, at least in the US, for the pirate system in Lego. I know there was eventually, they had the Imperials, I believe were what they called the kind of um, uh, soldiers and that sort of thing. It was the Imperial Navy, and this was the pirates. This was the Black Seas Barracuda. And I just thought this was one of the coolest sets. So I'll bring mine over here in a second, but it just had all these ropes and adjustable rigging and mast pieces and all this stuff. It had the bowsprit. It has the little rowboat that would attach to the back. Now I have long since lost the fabric goods for the sails. The ropes I have lost, which when I put this thing together, when I moved into this apartment, or tried to reconstruct it, I've developed certain skills since then that I can go back and readdress some of the roping issues that I had that I have not addressed yet. So it's this is the way it is now. To be fair, this does just sit in my bathroom. I've got one of those little shelf units that sits over the toilet, and kind of as a joke, because my bathroom is so pink and teal. I thought, a lot of people like putting beach stuff in their bathroom, so I put almost everything ocean centric toys I had. So I've got like Aquaman and Mara stuff in there, anything from the Disney cartoons I like, between like Moana, Little Mermaid pops are in there, some others, Little Nemo, not Little Nemo, Finding Nemo, some different things like that. And then I've got this pirate ship on the top shelf with some other Lego figures around it. But the main thing is this pirate ship, which is one of my favorite sets. I remember walking into Toys R Us that we had here in Camp Hill when I was a kid, and my brother Ed, I think that might have actually been the set he got me in the previous picture, that Forbidden Island. He walked in and he's like, "Sky's the limit." He's 13 years older than me, so he was, I think just trying to, treat his little brother. And I was like, "Oh, the pirate ship." And he's like, "Well, all right, that's maybe sky's the limit was the wrong word, but that was kind of what the deal was." But I got that Forbidden Island set and I loved it. And this came later. I don't know if it was a birthday present or a Christmas present later that year. But I do remember like being really excited when I got this set. It was probably at the time the most complicated set I had put together. Also, it was a lot of new parts. There was a lot of pieces in this that I had never experienced before with Lego, like the bow of the ship, that was all new stuff. The rope ladders going up to the masts and everything were new. Figuring out how to run the rope through and everything. I think my brother Joe might have helped me figure that out. So I'm pretty sure this might have been a Christmas gift that year. But it just I loved it. I loved it. It had the red and white striped sails, and it wasn't just I like that the pirate skull and crossbones was on the flag and not the sails, which I think they've done other versions of ships like this that have had that. But I like the sails being their own thing. And it just came with so many minifigures. It came with Captain Redbeard, I think his name was, or was it Brickbeard? I think Brickbeard was from the Lego movie. So this is Captain Redbeard. I could be wrong. Don't hate me. But it had the helm's wheel, and it had a map. And I know the Imperial one came with like an actual functioning like little compass that had the port on it, so it worked into the Lego system to fit on the bricks. Um, and it's got the anchor that you could wind up. The cannons actually fired. It had like a little spring-loaded contraption where you pulled out the plunger on the back end of the cannon and it fired out. And I'm gonna knock this over. But I just remember I had so much. This was one of the few sets I never took apart. As far as there might have been a couple castle sets, and most of the other pirate sets I usually left as is. But I kept the instructions in case I ever wanted to put them back. But this was like the first one that I never wanted to take apart and explore different things I could build with it because I loved the pirate ship so much. Um, so I'll bring it out here. Let's this is gonna be not the best lighting, I don't think, but here we go. So coming in from the bathroom, and it is a little dusty. I tried cleaning it off, but here is the Black Seas Barracuda. You can see how big it is with my face right in here. But it's still got the bowsprit, and I believe it was supposed to be kind of a mermaid type lady on the front there. Which I believe this was also one of the first sets I remember getting that had more facial applications to the like the way the figures, the stamp with the lips and the hair on the females. And then there was this. She might have had blue, but I gave her red. Now there's this female pirate here. No, she has red. Um, and then I've mixed in other stuff over the years with it. Like I've got this dwarf that was, I think, from one of the blind pack sets, that I just felt would go great on the pirate ship, and some different guys. I think this was from the newer pirate series. I had a bunch of those, except for the big ship from the more modern pirate series about 10 years ago or so. You've got the oars, the cannons. I don't know if the cannons work, but they were on wheels, so you could slide them. I got to be careful here. You could slide them in and out of their galley there, and just all sorts of fun stuff. The backup here, it's a different captain, but this hatch opened and you could get into the captain's quarters. I'm afraid to turn this over, but you could get into the captain's quarters here, and there's Lego figures falling everywhere. There's sets of double doors in here that opened up. This back hatch back here would open up, and you could get into the captain's quarters that way if you wanted to do stuff. But I found these fabric pieces. I went to Joann's or some sort of fabric store, and it's not the exact pattern, and my tailoring skills are not up to par, but I just wanted to get something that evoked the feel of this ship. And you got the little monkey hanging up there, the parrot, and I'm gonna try to pick up this Lego figure off the floor. My all the different figures and stuff. It was just such a fun set. Like this, and most of this, the yellow, all the pieces, I think I made this part gray instead of white, just to make it look a little more weathered when I assembled it. I took it apart and rebuilt it years ago just to make sure it was like snapped together, because I put that together in 1989, maybe 1990, and it had been together for the most part through its whole life until I moved. I believe it was when I moved into this apartment, which would have been 2013. So, and it's 2024 now, so it's been at least another 10 years since I put it together. But yeah, that's one of my random ass things. It was, and Lego, when I was a kid, that was a thing that really helped me do creative storytelling. And I think that's one of the things that led me. One of the first things I said when I got into Legions and I realized their pop and swap ability, the Mythic and Cosmic Legions, was that it reminded me of the Lego, where I would take, I would pop the arms off a guy that had a shirt figure. And if it was like a white shirt with like the white arms, I would maybe pop the yellow arms on so it would look like he had bare arms, because all the Lego figures are all yellow. They didn't have necessarily racial colors to them. So it was just a lot of fun. Like just so many adventures going on that. And that thing eventually made it out with me to college. I think it was in my dorm room for a while and all this stuff. So it was one of the few things I was able to keep together. I even did when I was in video production classes, we were doing, one of my friends did a stop motion movie, and we used a lot of my Lego sets that I had. I had built like a castle set and a Lord of the Rings troll, and he smashed the castle, but I used the ship and I ran it around one of those little like rag carpets. I don't know what they're called, where it just looks like threads of different pieces of rags were all sewn together. So it just looked kind of like, we used that as like an ocean. So the ship sailed up, but like I curled the little rug alongside of it, so it looked like waves rippling along the edge of the ship. So it was kind of fun doing that and getting to bring that into some of the other creative things I had done in college and stuff. And now, like I said, it sits proudly in the bathroom on the shelf over the toilet. So if you ever come to the house, excuse me, the apartment, you don't have to worry about getting trapped in the basement. That's a Purple Gang myth. But you can come, you can hang out, check out like I've got toys everywhere in this place and collectibles and stuff. And there wasn't enough room for all of it. So some of it made it into the bathroom, including the Black Seas Barracuda Lego set. So, so there it is. There's my first Rats episode. Thanks for joining in. Hope you enjoy this. If there's any specific type of things that you'd want, I mean, Curtis and I are going to keep doing these where we just different things that we want to show off or talk about from our collections. But if there's something specific, requests, feel free to hit us up in the comments on these, and we'll see what we can share with you. But hope you enjoy. Thanks for coming out today and checking this. Hopefully we'll be doing one of these every Monday for everybody. And on Monday, our members get access to the Wednesday one shot a couple days early, usually Monday, sometimes Tuesday, just depends on my technical savvy on Sunday night. So yeah, that's Jesse's first Rats, the Lego set, Black Seas Barracuda from 1989. Thanks for joining. Catch you next time. And until then, what's on your shelf?
These are a few of our random ass things.